As a producer, I did feel a lot of guilt because I knew I had to put somebody on camera and make them relive and retell the horrors of what happened to them.
A police officer who knew Husna and who knew me before he telephoned. And he said to me, "Mate, you should go home. I have seen, I can confirm. She's not coming home anymore."
Even as I'm retelling this, I feel myself breaking down. Cut. God, it's just emotional. My name is Genevieve, and I produced the episode on Islamophobia and the rise of white supremacism. I interviewed this man called Farid Ahmed. His wife was one of the victims who was gunned down at the Christchurch Mosque shootings.
I was just hoping that she was safe somewhere. I could not imagine still then that she would be killed. I could not imagine the shooter would kill the children and ladies.
When we went to his home for the interview, this was maybe about a couple of weeks after the whole incident, and things had kind of died down a little bit. But in the intimacy of his living room, I got the feeling that it suddenly hit him that he has lost his wife.
My daughter came home and I wanted to tell her straight without any mucking around. So I hugged her. She said where her mom was. And I said, with God.
He had to break the news to his only daughter that his wife, her mother, had died in the shooting. She was only 15 years old, their only child.
So the hardest thing was when she said, "Are you telling me I don't have a mother?" And I said, "Yes, but from now I'm your mother and father."
And when we heard the story for the first time too, from, directly from him, I couldn't stop my tears. And my crew, who's made up of these tall, strapping New Zealand boys, they were crying, and I could hear them sniffling behind me too. As a producer, I did feel a lot of guilt because I wanted to share that story with my audience, but I knew what that would entail, to open up and dig at those raw wounds again. As I left for New Zealand, I didn't even know if this episode was going to be possible because nobody had accepted my interviews. None of my interviews had said yes, and that's very scary for a reporter. And I could totally understand why. Why would they want to relive that horror and the tragedy by going on TV talking to a stranger? The fact that the Christchurch families and the survivors were willing to share with a total stranger in front of a camera of how personal and deep that loss was, I mean, hats off to them. If I were in their shoes, I would not have said yes. I would not have bothered to say even no. I just wouldn't say anything. It's like, go away, let me grieve in peace and alone. I did get a sense that when they overcame the initial reluctance and the sadness and the fear, they had a message they wanted to share. They shared through their personal tragedies, and they shared through the prism of Islam and what their faith taught them to believe, taught them to cope. This particular production was unusual because it affected my sleep when I was back in Singapore. I remember waking up every night in the middle of the night, just jolting out of bed for the next 2 weeks, and it's never happened before on any other production. I think I felt that way because of, I think one, the true horror of that story. So I think I was somehow touched by that horror too.